Hi everybody, Mark Lewis Wagner here, your drawing teacher. We're moving into week 7, so we're getting close to the middle of the semester. We'll be slowly moving into looking at light and form and 3 dimensions. But this class we're going to be looking at the rule of thirds, so we're going to look at composition, which is where do you place something in the picture frame. You know, where are things placed? How do you place someone? There's kind of power spots in your picture frame. So we're going to be looking at like how do you place things there to make a composition dynamic. And that's what makes a powerful piece of art. And it depends a lot on our outside of our frame. We keep talking about the picture frame, like things that are inside the picture frame. So I'm going to do some demos, and we're going to look at transferring images also onto paper by using tracing paper and using a laptop or a computer, which is a great way to get some reference. So hope you're having fun in this class. This virtual learning it has its pluses and its minuses, mostly that I miss having everybody in class where I can see what you're doing and talk to you and have all that direct feedback stuff. So hope everybody's well. So this lesson's about the rule of thirds. So I have a 10 by 14 inch piece of paper that I've drawn my frame on. And so the rule of thirds is about proportions. It's an old system that's been around since the 1400s. It's a linear mathematical system, and it's based on a curvilinear natural system. So let's just look at how that is. So you can watch me first, and then you're gonna do this yourself. So what I did is I drew 2 diagonals. This ruler is 18 inches. So by doing a 10 by 14 inch piece, I'm able to, can I do my fours upside down? I'm able to get this ruler across this size. So by going on 2 diagonals, I get the center point of this whole piece of my picture frame. So it doesn't matter what size this is, vertical, rectangle, it does not matter. By doing just these 2 verticals from the 4 corners, and it does need to be at 90 degrees, I'm gonna be able to get the dead center of my piece. And this is the piece they say, if you don't know what you're doing, stay away from the center, because it acts like a black hole where it pulls things towards it. And if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't put things in a right place, it kind of has a tendency to throw your composition off. Working with a center is a great thing for mandalas. So anything that's circular or logos or things that actually have centers are awesome. So now that I have this, what I need to do is I need to find out like what this line is. So this gives me a half, and there's a couple different ways to do this. I could measure it. I could actually, measure and look at my numbers. I could have a piece of paper, this is tracing paper, and I could mark my line this way, and then I could come down and mark my line this way. So this is more of a geometrical way of doing a line. I could also do something where I look here. Well, let's not do that. If I want to do an angle, I could grab, all I need is something that has a 90-degree angle on it. So if I lay this right up against the line, and I'm doing this upside down, but that will also give me this line, so that then I can draw that line. So that's a super important to get this also on a 90-degree angle. So once I have that, then it's divided into halves equally. So if I want to do something that's called a diptych, I have 2 halves of a panel that I can work with. So from here, then I'm going to subdivide it by using some more diagonals. So I go from the middle to a corner. I go from the middle to a corner. Then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to go from this middle, or this corner, wherever you want to say it, and I'm going to draw 2 more diagonals. So this then gives me this star shape, which is the main thing that I'm looking for. So you can see how it's designed and it's set up. So visually, you want to imagine that your eye moves around into this piece. So you could see it as a map, right? I'm going to stay inside my frame. That's why we do picture frame. So everything's happening inside. And then it's like there's an old computer game when I was a kid called Pong, and things bounced around. And if that was happening, these are the power spots of your drawing. So these are the main spots that we're going to be looking at. And this is then how this sets up as the rule of thirds. So if I come down with my ruler into these lines, then what this gives me is thirds, right? Equal thirds, third, thirds, thirds. And if you look at your camera, if you pull out your camera, even right now, hit pause after I say this, pull out your camera, look at a photograph and then crop it. You'll see that the camera puts these spots on your picture to help you make a better composition. So I'm drawing then these horizontal lines. I could draw another one here that's going to be in the middle. So that would be it breaks my piece into halves this way, right? So here's halves. And then here's thirds. Third, third, third. So again, these are my power spots that I'm going for. And then I could keep subdividing this piece over and over and over and over and over. It's kind of a fractal way. So let's just do this piece here. So I'm going to look at this rectangle right here, and I'm going to subdivide this just as an experiment where it turns into this fractal, meaning that it breaks down into itself in perfect proportions. So here's my lines this way, right? I'm just going to keep going until I get this star shape that's here on this side. So my star shape, so there's my star. And I could just keep going smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it disappears. So this is our basic piece that we're going to go for in the beginning. And then we're going to be working on adding more. So what I did here is I redrew this piece and then I kept subdividing it using my ruler. I subdivided it. And the next thing that I did is that I've gone onto my computer and I've started to look for reference. And so I've added some reference where I take a picture and then on my computer I very carefully lay tracing paper. So here's my tracing paper. You've got a pad of tracing paper. What I've done is, this is an older wrinkled stuff, is that I can tear some of this off where as I fold it, and then I use my thumb to seal in my crease. And as I do that a couple times, then I tear it on an angle, and I can get a half a sheet or a whole sheet, because I don't necessarily need a big sheet at the time. So I'll get a sheet, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it with blue tape onto my computer screen, and then I'm going to trace out an image, like of a hummingbird. And then once I have this hummingbird, or once I have a, well, let's just go. So I have my hummingbird, and the cool thing about what I'm doing now with composition is that I get to move this around. So this is one of the cooler things. I'm going to move this around, or I can also flip it. And so that gives me two really cool possibilities of doing things. And the main parts I'm going to keep looking at are these dots right here. So I found a couple pieces of reference. I have a hummingbird, and I don't know if I'm going to use these all. I have another kind of bird. I'm a big bird fan. Again, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be moving this bird around and see how it feels with my intuition. So I'm using my inner senses to see what feels right. So there's a word called feng shui, which is the proper placement of things. It's an Asian science and art. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to feng shui and use my intuition, almost like a Ouija board, right? I'm gonna move things around until it goes like, okay, that feels great. So the main thing that I was working with is I found a figure that's looking like they're falling. So this figure could go anywhere on this page. See what this gives me, this possibility of where I can move this? It's like I got all these different places. I could work on having the two hands move back and forth this way. I can work on the one that I found that I'm going to like is I'm going to put that hand right on that spot. So the main thing is that I'm placing objects in these power spots. And so there's my hand. I'm going to keep that there. And then this one, I'm just going to kind of come up to this point right here. So again, I could be turning this way. It could come into an opposite direction. You know, this is just possibilities of things. So you want to be able to get some reference and see where that goes. So this one's actually cool because it goes, the foot comes down here to the bottom. This hand comes up here. See this straight line? And then there's this great direction that goes this way. So this is also a great placement of things. And the head's right here. I could actually move it just a little bit and put the head right there on that spot. Oftentimes I'll even try to maybe sometimes put the heart of something. So one of the ones that I was liking was going this way. So the hand's down here and this hand's up here. And then I was looking at this bird because I like birds. And so then I do a combination like, where's this bird want to go? You know, does he want to be holding it? And what's that like? So then I would have the hand, the heart of the bird, like right there's the heart of the bird right on that power spot, and the wing comes off this way. Or, you know, do I want the eye of the bird to be on this power spot? And then come something like this, so that then the hand's coming up here and the bird's right on that line. So I kind of like that, and have this coming up into this, right into that triangle. So that's great. And see where the foot is? The foot's right there on that middle spot, like right here on this side. Then I have another picture of a dancer. And let's see, where did I put her? She's hiding. I have a picture of a dancer. So I have a picture of a dancer, and then I was actually looking at like having her, she's smaller, so this is foreground, that's going to go back into space, unless this is a little fairy. And I'm going to put her hand right on the same place as the bird's foot was. So then I'm creating that line of composition happening.